There are details about the world that go unnoticed, not because they are hidden, but because they are rarely observed with enough attention. Every day, phenomena happen around us in the environment, in the human body, in nature, and even beyond the planet, following rules that seem simple at first glance. But when those same details are examined more closely, they begin to reveal something different. Small contradictions, unexpected patterns, and behaviors that don't fully fit into what we usually assume to be normal. Curiosity 15. There is a species of octopus that has been observed collecting coconut shells from the ocean floor, carrying them across distances and assembling them later as a form of shelter. At first, it looks like simple behavior, but the sequence matters. The octopus selects, transports, stores, and then uses the objects only when needed. This creates a quiet contradiction. The ocean is full of immediate threats, and carrying something unnecessary increases risk. Yet the octopus does it anyway, as if anticipating a future situation that has not yet happened. Curiosity 14. There are birds that do not just use tools, they improve them. The New Caledonian crow has been observed taking a simple twig and reshaping it, bending it, trimming it, and adjusting its structure before using it to extract insects from places it cannot reach. At first glance, it appears to be a learned trick, but the process reveals something deeper. The crow does not settle for what it finds. It modifies the tool to make it more effective, often testing it, adjusting again, and only then using it with precision. Curiosity 13. There are animals that remember not just places, but time. Certain species of scrub jays have been observed storing different types of food in separate locations, then returning to them based on how quickly each item spoils. Worms are retrieved first, nuts are left for later. The decision is not random, and it is not immediate. The bird must recall what was stored, where it was hidden, and how much time has passed since that moment. If it waits too long, the food is no longer usable. If it returns too early, it wastes the advantage of storage. This creates a quiet tension. Memory alone is not enough. The behavior depends on linking memory to a sense of time that is not directly visible. The environment does not signal when something has expired. The bird must act based on an internal reference. Curiosity 12. There are dolphins that use names. In certain populations, each dolphin develops a unique whistle early in life. At first, it sounds like just another call in a complex system of communication. But over time, something unusual becomes clear. Other dolphins begin to use that exact same whistle when trying to get that individual's attention. The sound is not random. It is consistent, specific, and directed. When separated, dolphins have been observed calling out using the distinct whistle of another, as if attempting to reconnect across distance. Curiosity 11. There are rats that will choose to free another before helping themselves. In controlled environments, a rat is placed in a space with two options. One leads to food. The other leads to a trapped companion inside a small enclosure. There is no immediate reward for opening it, no benefit that increases survival. And yet, many rats consistently choose to release the other first. At first, this can be dismissed as learned behavior. But when the situation is repeated under different conditions, the pattern holds. Even when food is present and easily accessible, the rat often delays its own reward to free the other. Curiosity 10. There are ants that farm other living organisms and protect them as if they were their own. In certain species, ants actively collect aphids and move them to specific plants. At first, it seems like simple interaction, but over time, the pattern becomes more structured. The ants guard them from predators, relocate them when conditions change, and even stimulate them to release a sugary substance used as food. This is not a one-time behavior. It is sustained, organized, and repeated across entire colonies. How much of nature operates through systems we don't fully recognize yet? Curiosity 9. There are whales that change the way they sing, and the change spreads. In certain populations of humpback whales, males produce long, structured songs that can last for hours. At first, these songs appear repetitive, almost mechanical. But when researchers began tracking them over time, a pattern emerged that didn't follow instinct alone. A new variation appears in one group, a slight shift in rhythm, tone, or sequence. Then, gradually, that variation is adopted by others, not randomly, but in a way that spreads across entire populations, sometimes replacing the original song completely. Curiosity 8. There is an animal that doesn't rely on just one heart to survive. It uses 3. The octopus is often recognized for its intelligence, its ability to camouflage, and its unusual appearance. But beneath that, its internal system reveals something less obvious and more revealing. Instead of a single central organ, it operates with 3 separate hearts, each with a distinct role. 2 of them are dedicated to moving blood through the gills, ensuring oxygen is absorbed efficiently. The third is responsible for circulating that oxygen to the rest of the body. At first, this might seem like an advantage. More control, more distribution, a system designed for flexibility. But the structure comes with a hidden cost. When the octopus swims, the main heart that supplies the body slows down significantly. Movement becomes inefficient. Energy drains faster. Over time, this creates a constraint that shapes its behavior. Instead of swimming frequently, the octopus prefers to crawl along the ocean floor, conserving energy and reducing strain on its own system. Curiosity 7. There is an animal whose heartbeat is so powerful, it can be detected from a distance. The blue whale is known for its size, but the scale becomes harder to grasp when you look at what sustains it. Its heart alone can weigh over 180 kilograms, functioning as the force that moves blood through a body longer than most buildings. At first, this seems like a simple consequence of size. A larger body requires a larger organ. But the way it operates reveals something more precise. The heart does not beat continuously at the same rhythm. When the whale dives deep, the rate slows dramatically, conserving oxygen. When it rises, it accelerates again, restoring balance. This creates a system that is not just powerful, but carefully regulated under pressure. Curiosity 6. In space, there is no sound, but not for the reason most people think. It's easy to imagine silence as emptiness, as if nothing is happening. But the absence of sound is not about stillness. It's about what sound actually requires to exist. On Earth, every noise travels through something: air, water, solid surfaces. Vibrations move from one particle to another, carrying energy across space until it reaches an ear. But in the vacuum of space, there are almost no particles to carry that vibration forward. This creates a strange contrast. Explosions can happen, objects can collide, massive forces can be released, and yet, none of it produces sound in the way we experience it. The event exists, the noise does not. Curiosity 5. There are moments when the human brain is fully active, and yet the person feels no pain. In certain neurosurgical procedures, patients remain awake while doctors operate directly on the brain. At first, this sounds impossible. The idea of being conscious during surgery suggests immediate discomfort, something the body should not be able to tolerate. But the brain itself does not contain pain receptors. This creates a contradiction that is easy to overlook. The organ responsible for processing pain, interpreting it, and reacting to it cannot feel it within itself. Surgeons can stimulate different areas, ask questions, observe responses, and map functions in real time, while the patient remains aware. Curiosity 4. Your body is not completely invisible in the dark. It is emitting light right now. At first, darkness feels absolute. The absence of light suggests nothing is being produced. Nothing is being seen, but under sensitive instruments, the human body reveals something unexpected. It gives off a continuous, faint glow. This light is not visible to the human eye. It is thousands of times weaker than what we can detect. But it is there, generated by chemical reactions happening inside the body as cells produce energy and release small amounts of photons. Curiosity 3. There is a smell that appears just before the rain, and it comes from something alive. Most people recognize it immediately, that distinct scent in the air when the first drops hit dry ground. It feels natural, almost atmospheric, as if it belongs to the rain itself. But the source is not the water. It comes from compounds released by soil-dwelling bacteria. During dry periods, these microorganisms produce a substance that settles into the ground. When rain finally arrives, the impact of the droplets releases tiny particles into the air, carrying that scent upward. What we perceive is not just moisture, but the interaction between water and life that was already there. Curiosity 2. There is a creature that does not follow the usual direction of life. It can reverse it. The immortal jellyfish does not grow, age, and die in a straight line like most living organisms. Under certain conditions, instead of continuing toward decline, it can return to an earlier stage of its own development, effectively resetting its biological state. At first, this seems like a simple survival mechanism, but the process is more precise than that. When exposed to stress, injury, or environmental pressure, the jellyfish reorganizes its cells, transforming from a mature form back into a younger one, starting the cycle again. Curiosity 1. There is a parasite that does not just live inside another animal. It changes the way that animal behaves. Infected ants begin to act in ways that don't match their normal patterns. They leave a colony at unusual times, climb vegetation they would typically avoid, and attach themselves to a specific point before becoming completely still. At first, it appears random, a breakdown in behavior, but the sequence is consistent, and it leads to a precise outcome. The parasite requires a particular environment to complete its life cycle. By altering the ant's actions, it moves the host into a position where the conditions are ideal for its own survival. The behavior is not accidental, it is directed. This creates a tension that is difficult to ignore. The ant is still alive, still moving, but the decisions no longer seem to originate from itself. What looks like instinct is being overwritten. And once that possibility is considered, the perspective shifts one final time. If behavior can be influenced to this degree from within, how certain can we be that what we observe in nature always belongs to the organism itself? What once appeared predictable becomes open. What once felt explained becomes something that invites further examination, not because the answers are missing, but because the questions themselves are still evolving.